fall of Krakoa is upon us, but from which direction? Will ultimate destruction come? Well, let's hop into the pages of X-Men Before the Fall, Sons of X issue number 1 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, everything is positively going to hell in a handbasket. A bunch of world leaders who have been publicly anti-Krakoa are dead at the hands of Nightcrawler. Giant kaiju-sized monsters that used to be mutants are running amok across the globe, causing an untold amount of damage to the mutants' public reputation. And poor Legion David Hallier is getting 10 pounds of crap knocked out of him by Nimrod, Orchis' massive robot leg breaker. Okay, that last thing isn't actually true. It's more of a psychic test that David is running over and over again to see if he can actually beat Nimrod. So far, though, no luck. David as Legion may be one of the most powerful mutants who ever lived with untapped amazing god power, but unfortunately he hasn't been feeling himself recently after a run-in with his father Charles, who gave him a psychic virus while under the sway of a bunch of sinister genes that were controlling him and some of the other members of the Quiet Council. Now it seems that Legion and Nimrod are on more even footing than ever before, which means that if the followers of the Spark, Nightcrawler's friends and teammates are going to save him, they're going to have to get really creative. And yes, a minute in, if you couldn't tell everyone, this story is more or less the big finale for Cy Spurrier's Legion of X, so here's hoping you read that and we're up to speed. I actually dropped off, but thankfully the characters in the story and the appendix pages actually do a great job getting me up to speed on everything I missed. It's not to say it's all Legion of X stuff, because at this very moment Sean Cassidy Banshee rolls up to the rest of the team minus his crazy Ghost Rider Spirit of Variance powers. Apparently when the Sinister timeline was destroyed and the regular timeline was repaired, he kind of ended up losing all of his special new powers, which is bad for him, but even worse because once Blindfold takes a look at him, she sees that he's absolutely broken across time and space. It's while running around in his head, though, the good guys end up getting a secret hidden message from Mother Righteous, the person who had made a deal with Sean and given him those powers in the first place. Legion and the others decide to look up Mother Righteous for some magical help. After all, they don't know she's an evil clone of Mr. Sinister. They don't know she's a bad guy. As far as they know, she's a savior of Krakoa, who assisted in the capture of Mr. Sinister and revealing to the Quiet Council that their genes had been tampered with in the first place. As Mother Righteous explains, she can totally fix this whole mutant monster problem. In fact, she actually did solve this problem in the Sinister future, but also that Nightcrawler turning into a big horned devil beast is just the tip of a bigger Orchis iceberg. Nightcrawler turned into a monster because of his demonic heritage and also because of his shitty on-again, off-again supervillain adopted mother. Orchis struck a deal with Mommy Not-So-Dearest and used the information they learned to try and create brand new mutant monsters that would hopefully hurt Krakoa on the public and national scale. Mother Righteous agrees to help Legion and the others rescue Nightcrawler as well as several other mutant and adjacent super characters who had been kidnapped by them. Of course, she doesn't plan on doing this for free. Mother Righteous doesn't do anything for free. She expects something in return. Now, Legion still can't beat Nimrod, but he doesn't have to. Mother Righteous steps on in and actually ends up overloading the robot by, get this, revealing to Nimrod the tragic circumstances surrounding his birth, how he used to be the human head of security for Orchis, but then he died in a mutant attack and the woman he loved went mad trying to put his soul into a machine. This worked almost a little too well. Now Nimrod spends his days trying to tell himself that he is an uncaring machine, when in reality inside him beats the broken heart of a human. I also like that Mother Righteous literally weaponizes comic panels from old books to do this. She even shares the fact that Nimrod isn't as undefeatable as he thinks, because as we saw in the Sinister future, Orchis and Nimrod actually lose to the Avengers of all people. Now, Legion and the others manage to free Nightcrawler along with all the other imprisoned mutants. Unfortunately, their escape ends up getting cut off by Nightcrawler's evil mother, who, surprise, surprise, did all of this because she wanted to steal a magic sword that existed inside of Kurt himself, a sword that I think represents his hope and devotion in the mutants' new Spark religion. Again, I'm sure if I actually read the last couple issues of Legion of X, this would make a lot more sense to me. The good guys have their back against the wall when once again Mother Righteous comes on in to make the save. Surprise, surprise, but it turns out Kurt's mom also made a devil's deal with Mother Righteous. A deal that Righteous is now rescinding, instead choosing to go along with Legion, the person that she herself was always after. She'll help herself to this magic sword though, because who doesn't want a magic sword made of pure hope? With the Orchis threat ended, all of the other mutants return to the Savage Land, where Mother Righteous leads them in a magical ritual that purges the monstrous Orchis. Orchis tampering from their bodies, meaning the giant monster threat has now officially ended. So yeah, all's well that ends well, right? Only, no, Legion tries to get the magic sword back from Righteous, who refuses to give it up unless Legion himself is willing to make a deal. Legion knew this was coming because Mother Righteous has been messing around in his mind all issue long, and well, sister, that's a two-way street. Legion now knows that Righteous is evil, and if she doesn't have to keep up the charade anymore, she's not going to. Apparently, the whole reason Righteous has been obsessed with Legion is because, as you'll remember, in the sinister future, Legion basically pieced out of the whole crazy 1,000-year war when he opted to ascend to a higher state of being. Here's the part that we didn't know, though. Legion and his followers may have ascended, but they ended up getting gobbled up by the Dominion, the crazy all-powerful entity that exists outside of time and space. An entity that Mother Righteous believes has to be one of her other clone siblings, either Dr. Stasis of Orchis or Stellaris Oberus. Naturally, Righteous wants to ascend to the level of a Dominion, and she figures that using Legion's powers is a good way to get there, and so she sucks them dry. Luckily, Kurt is feeling more like himself now and steps on in with the magic sword to do battle with her. We also discover that Mother Righteous, who thought that she was on top of everything all issue long, actually didn't notice that Blindfold was doing everything in her power to make sure that all of the followers of the Spark managed to escape the astral plane. A good thing too, because after that, everyone just kind of dies. Which is good because it means Mother Righteous is defeated and that she's not going to be able to ascend to the level of a Dominion this day. Unfortunately, though, Legion is missing in action, and because Nightcrawler and all the others were in the astral plane, Cerebro wasn't able to back up their memories, meaning they sadly do not remember that she's evil and screwing everyone by playing all sides. If nothing else, though, before his disappearance, it seems that Legion actually did Banshee one hell of a kindness by affecting his memories within Cerebro, meaning that he no longer remembers being broken by time. So there's a character fully reset. Sadly, though, if we're going to talk about broken mutants, we have to talk about Nightcrawler himself, this betrayal by his mother, and the crimes he sadly committed while under mind control have left him feeling very despondent, so much to the point he tells Cyclops that he plans to leave the island, knowing it's only a matter of time before authorities and world governments start breathing down their necks to try and punish him. Before he leaves, though, Nightcrawler is sure to tell Scott the Cyclops that maybe mutant kind is losing its way, that Homo superior, Homo sapient, they all have the word human in it. And then maybe they've spent too much time trying to build a home for their people, they forgot to be people along the way. And it's on that note right there the comic comes to a close, everyone. And so that was X-Men Before the Fall, Sons of X issue number 1, everyone. And overall, I thought this issue was a lot to take in. I bought it assuming that it was going to be a kickoff to the big new Fall of X era for these X-Men books, as well as an epilogue for Sins of Sinister. And indeed, it was those things, but more than anything, it was actually just a big finale for Legion of X. And honestly, thank God I read as much of that series as I did, because if not, I would totally be lost in this issue, despite the book trying really hard to get new readers up to speed. I guess it makes sense to have Banshee and the rest of the Legion team deal with Mother Righteous here in this story, considering that Legion was actually the book she first debuted in, and now she's ready to move on and be a line-wide villain. Her fight with Nimrod was certainly cool, and the effects of that one are going to last, but it's one of the few effects of this story that are going to last, as this comic pulled the whole and then everyone died and forgot everything that happened ending, which this era of X-Men has been kind of famous for. Don't get me wrong, again, fun the first 3 or 4 times they did it, but now it's getting stale. It's also not like Nightcrawler is going to be gone forever. In fact, this issue straight up ends with saying, hey, if you want to see Kurt again, check out the new Uncanny Spider-Man miniseries coming soon, which should be fun, and I will check it out. But sometimes I wish stories like this with big dramatic endings were allowed to breathe for a little bit before they have to announce the next thing. Overall, I'd give this one a 7 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.